You are right up my street.
Oh, you can't make me choose.
Igo by Toyota sponsors T4.
Fuck me, Lee Ryan's 13. I remember we couldn't remember the word for table.
This is Your Welcome America Presents The Passions of Girls Aloud, Episode 4.
With the Girls Aloud reunion tour in full swing, we're rewatching a relic of 2000s TV from our beloved girl group.
Coming up in Episode 4, it's everyone's favourite fashionista redhead, Nicola.
I am Ben.
I'm Fraser.
Fraser like razor.
And this is The Passions of Girls Aloud.
After 5 years of producing hit after hit, Cheryl, Sarah, Kimberly and Nicola have managed to take time out from recording and touring to follow their passion.
Now, I will say I was doing a cold read of what you'd written and I almost stumbled over favourite fashionista redhead.
I know. I thought, I'm just going to put in something that will get really tongue-tied.
Also, very this episode, that kind of thing. We got we got a lot of those kind of descriptions of places and people.
I've recorded a VO at one point because it was so clunk-a-lunk.
Now, Lucozade watch.
There's no Lucozade.
No Lucozade.
So in The Passions of Girls Aloud, we had a bottle of Lucozade in Cheryl's episode, in Sarah's episode, none in Kim's.
Yeah. So we're at a 50% Lucozade rate in The Passions of Girls Aloud.
That's okay.
And I think if Nadine had done the episode, I don't think she would have included Lucozade on camera.
No.
It's not Nadine's style.
I have a Nadine update for you.
Oh.
So, you know how we heard
Unexpected.
that Nadine's passion was social work or charity work?
Yeah.
I heard separately from someone who knows someone who worked in the show that Nadine's passion was going to be conducting.
What?
Yeah.
Like Maestro?
Yeah. How British TV is that?
Yeah, it's very faking it.
Also, I don't want to watch someone conducting.
That would have been so boring.
I mean, we struggled watching Sarah on a horse.
So you want to, just as a quick overview, this is the most densely packed episode of stuff happening, in my opinion.
Okay.
I think this has more actual like productivity than any of the episodes we've had so far.
Well, there's a big difference to like learning a dance routine compared to creating and launching your own brand.
That's what I'm saying. She truly did do something that was real and really intense. Anyway.
And there's some great moments in the episode where she's tearing that red hair out like, what am I doing? Okay, in this episode, Nicola is going to be creating her own makeup range from scratch, it would appear. And her whole thesis, as it were, is that she has such pale skin, it's hard to find makeup that allows her to embrace her own skin. And she's always stood out, and in the past, she's tried to use all the fake tan and everything, and now she's really embracing herself, but she's struggling to embrace herself because there aren't enough products for her.
Oh, thank you.
It's pretty good, wasn't it?
Except for the press release.
That was the press release, yeah.
Well, they describe her in the voiceover. Matt Horn's back for a final honk on the horn. He describes her as the youngest, quietest, and most enigmatic member of Girls Aloud. Has always stood out for being different. There's definitely some fun overtones in this episode of kind of racial, like, Nicola's so white that she's actually a minority, which is very funny to me. You know what I mean?
Totally.
The wording of this whole episode is she's not even white. She's a different ethnicity.
Yeah, she's
extra white.
She's alien. She's alien white. And bearing in mind, we did have Cheryl conquering street dance in the ganglands of LA, and I'm just quoting them. I'm not saying it. And the word black was not used once.
Yeah. So, and she says in an interview here that she says, you know, I just hope people know that people can see that I've changed and I'm not just the ugly little ginger thing I was when I started. I was like, what? That's untrue. So I didn't like her talking about herself like that, even though it was kind of in the past.
It's untrue because she's never been ugly little.
She was never ugly. That's not a correct thing to say. But yeah, and she words this very astutely, where she says, the reason this is a huge passion for me is because it's a problem for me. I was like, oh. Basically, I feel like this is the only episode of the show that is a real thing.
Totally. Yeah, because it's not Cheryl learning to dance isn't solving a problem.
No. Everything else was kind of a fun... maybe
Frolic.
like vanity kind of frolic.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I got to do a fun thing that I've always wanted to do. This was like, oh, I'm actually going to, well, as we keep saying, and we will say in this episode, create and launch a brand in 2 months.
And it also seems like this took a lot more time than any of the others as well.
Yeah.
Like the whole filming period was like while she filmed this, all 3 other girls did theirs.
Completely. Hilary Shaw was being pulled from pillar to post, and then she was like, oh God, Nicola's still making that. She's like, where's Nicola? She's in Taiwan. And we get one of my favorite Girls Aloud backing track kind of songs that they use a lot, which is Control of the Now. It's such a 2000s TV sound, isn't it?
Nicola has always found problems with her exterior. She's decided to try. I don't know, like it's actually weird words they might use.
So speaking of music, what song? What amazing song takes us into? I just want to note, sorry, that I am a little unwell, which is why I sound so strange. If anyone's wondering, if anyone cares, there you go.
No one's wondering. You sound fine.
Oh, I think I sound very like
a little husk.
Yeah.
Well, let's go to the UK High Street, shall we? I just wrote this, called the section The High Street, and what song are they playing?
I'm starting to, I
feel fine. I feel fine. I'm driving fast down the high street.
I'm going to John Lewis to try on some foundation.
So it's song for Mutia.
Song number 4.
Mutia. Groove Armada?
Open brackets, out of control, close brackets. Never forget that there's out of control in that. Yeah, it's Groove Armada, yeah. Song for Mutia, out of control.
So here's the thing. Our girl needs to prove a point that there isn't makeup for her, for her kind.
Yes.
So she goes to, as you said, a department store. They do. I was like thinking, wait, are they just going to go in there and film? And she does say, we've got permission.
Yeah, they go out of their way to say that she has permission to go to these makeup counters. Now, I thought she looked lovely in this scene. She's got a lovely kind of coat on and sunglasses, nice pair of aviators. And it's kind of a theme of this episode that there's actually... I'll point it out as we go along. I'd say maybe 2 outfits out of this whole episode that she couldn't wear now. And then the rest of the episode, she was dressed in clothes that genuinely... This still looked very dated, but this episode looked the least dated, even though we end up going to Sketch. Anyway, I loved her coat is what I'm trying to say.
But when we talk about Sketch later, Sketch to this day is somewhere that when Americans visit London, they go to Sketch to take pictures.
We'll get to
Sketch.
We'll have a whole
We'll get to Sketch.
We'll have a whole Sketch segment. That's my fault.
Okay, so she trots around these makeup counters, trying on foundations, asking for the palest color, and she keeps putting them on her skin, and they're all too dark for her.
Yeah, and she's getting quite chippy with a lot of the makeup counter ladies that are trying to convince her, like, oh no, this one kind of works. So she's just going, no, but too dark.
My question though is, I don't understand, what does she use?
Yeah.
She's got to use something.
Yeah, I'm guessing well, she says it later. She says that even though she has access to high-end makeup, even she still struggles. So I'm guessing she's found maybe like a really expensive product, and that's kind of the whole thought. Or maybe she's blending it all together. It's like my friend... God, I've told you this so many times. It's like my friend Siobhan, how I once, when we were 18, watched her put on her eye makeup. And I watched her blend 7,000 different pale pinks and whites to create her own flesh tone for no reason. At the end, I was like, eyeshadow's meant to be like a color. And she's like, oh yeah, you're right. I was like, you've just blended your own skin color onto your eyelids and it looks no different for like an hour.
Right. What, this company that she goes to?
Well, we hear the strains of the gross song "What Comes Around" by Justin Timberlake. What
goes around, goes around, goes around. What a crap song.
Timberland.
Ding dong, ding dong, dong, dong.
Yeah. So she's in the Addie Lee on her way to boutique brand Jelly Pong Pong.
I was like, what is going on? So they're a makeup brand. And they're going to back... Technically, she's trying to pitch her idea so they can back it and then produce it. So she goes in, she meets Suzanne and Cindy at Jelly Pong Pong. I wrote here, imagine if the company said no and the episode ended here.
Well, it kind of, like, it's not that far off of what's happening.
Yeah, it doesn't go well.
But we get a really quick interview where Kim's being interviewed. She's got a lovely twisty bamboo plant behind her. And the phrase gift of the gab is used, which I really liked. I think it was Sarah that said that. It says Nicola's really got the gift of the gab.
So this office meeting room.
This is vertical blind hell. You know, my ongoing war with vertical blinds.
I was trying to work out, was this just a different era? Because imagine going to a makeup brand's office today.
It felt like they were in like a shared. This felt like a shared office. You know what I mean? Like a not.
Oh shit! Have you booked out the conference room for Nicola?
Completely. Like it felt like this is a small company that shares its office with like 7 other, like an insurance company, and like, you know what I mean? It didn't. Yeah, it was not chic.
It was the bleakest conference room.
It was very like the weird dark furniture and a very like a dying plant next to some vertical blinds.
So bizarre. And then Suzanne and Cindy. Just don't know why I'm so obsessed with their names.
Well, yeah, because it seems like they clearly got the company, and then it seems like this is all set up beforehand, but then genuinely the company is then like.
Well, Nicola goes in and she gives her pitch and she says it's all about embracing your own skin. And the company are like, well, basically in this time period, what we could do is blushes, lipsticks,
lip gloss, glosses.
I think they say lip plumpers.
Lip plumpers, glosses.
Yeah.
Nicola just goes, no. Because it's so specific what she's looking for. And then, you know, now I have fallen down many a YouTube beauty influencer hole. So a lot of the stuff that Stephanie and Suzanne, whatever their names, was saying to her was actually resonating with me, which is like to produce like foundation is, or like stuff that goes on your skin has like rounds of like testing. There's the production thing and rounds of testing before you can like launch those products. So I think she genuinely was like, I don't think we can make a foundation in 2 months in this country that will pass all of the tests.
Yeah, they weren't saying we don't like your idea.
No,
it was more
all.
like, Nicola.
Yeah, because the difference about this experience is that she is trying to make a new product rather than put her name on an existing product that just matches what she wants.
Yeah,
because they could have done that in like a day.
Or fit into an existing thing, like
exactly.
a polo match that's happening, or a musical that's going to take place anyway.
So it's kind of, she leaves this meeting with them being like, we're just not quite sure we can do it.
Do you not think, I just think now, imagine the producer before this meeting took place. Right, Suzanne and Cindy, so Nicola's going to come. What she's really looking to do is a foundation. And they're like, we're just going to stop you there. We're not going to be able to do that. I totally hear you. Totally hear you. Yeah, I think just talk about it and see what you could do. Okay. Oh, Nicola's here. Come on, Nicola.
Oh,
Hi.
I feel like those conversations were happening for a couple of months in pre-production. Like, well, yeah, actually, you're so right. It's like they kept saying, these are the things we can't do in 2 months, and then they're like, we can't do a foundation. Then you eventually finally get that meeting with Nicola before in pre-production she's like, the thing I want to do is the foundation. And you're like, so she wants to do this, but the company's saying we can't, and then it's just like 2 like ships heading towards each other, and you're like, eventually something's gonna happen, and I think it's gonna be my fault.
And Nicola says after the meeting, I don't want to sound like a complete bitch, but ask too nicely and you aren't gonna get it.
Spoiled bitch.
A spoiled bitch.
Yeah. But she says, if this is shit, it's going to be personal to me, and I don't want that. And it's true, because I feel like at this point in their career, they've done quite a few brand deals, and she knows what it is to just slap your name on a what was it, Samsung phone.
Yeah. A Kit Kat.
Exactly.
Kit
Kat Sensations.
Kit Kat Sensations. Should we go to Runcorn?
Do you know what? Let's pop up to Runcorn and visit the youngest grandma in
the
United Kingdom.
So Nicola takes us to visit her nan. I've written here my first point. Nan is so young.
I was like, I think I might be like 10 years younger than her nan in this scene. Like, it's wild. She looks like she could be someone's like older sister, like a. You know what I mean?
She looks like she's 47.
Yeah, completely.
Her nan is 47, I would say. So,
and she pretty much roasts her for an entire trip, which is very funny.
Yeah, they have a really enjoyable time together, the two of them, and they look through old photos. Nicola says that in some old photos, her skin is so translucent she looks like Casper.
That's what she used to get called.
Oh, that's right.
And then Nan says, yeah, she's like, God, yeah, you were so white. You were basically translucent. It's like, oh, okay.
Oh yeah, and then didn't her Nan say you look like a match,
Yeah.
like a matchstick?
Yeah,
like white with a red
top. And Nicola's like, okay. Now, did you take a look at what they were drinking in this scene?
What were they drinking? Tetleys?
They were definitely drinking blackcurrant squash,
Oh,
like a
okay.
Ribena or like a blackcurrant and like orange squash, like a mix.
Yeah.
It was the light, kind of the light pink, and they were drinking it out of these those very specific drinking glasses that have like, it was like frosted, and there were like, it was like kind of a like a polka dot design, and the polka dots were completely see through, but the rest was frosted. Does that make sense?
I don't remember those.
They were what I describe as a very like jazzy water drinking glass.
Now, how would those do in the dishwasher? Would the frosting
Oh no,
stay on?
that's going to be fine. It's all built in.
okay.
that,
It's all built in. The frosting's
Yeah.
built in.
And I couldn't work out whether her Nan had erected that kind of photo display behind her.
That shrine.
It looked like more like a kind of CSI murder board or like a Homeland murder board. It was all these pictures of Nicola that had been kind of tacked up to the wall. It looked like it was just missing some string connecting, like, well, this is the moment that she did ballet, and that connects to like her Nan's a beautiful mind back at home, just looking at pictures of Nicola.
We have a conversation about tanning, and she said that they talk about in the early days of the group, she used to really slap on the tan.
Yeah.
And she's gone through a learning curve, and now it's interesting, she said, because we know this is 2007, this is called the Shots era, because we've managed to timestamp it by haircuts.
Yeah, by fringe alone.
Fringe alone, Spock haircut. And she says that it's only now in the photos for Call the Shots and all the press promos for that is she confident with how she looks.
Yeah.
And she's being herself.
Well, and what's her grand say? She says, I just think in those first photos you looked a bit lost. Oh. And she's like, you're right. That's exactly how I felt.
Looked a bit
Well, she was so young, wasn't she? She was like just 17, and then, yeah. Anyway, let's go back to Jelly Pong or whatever this company is called.
Oh, I just wrote back to the drab office.
Although, actually, did you take a look at Nicola's Grand's living room?
I tried not to.
It was a feast of beige kind of gorgeousness. She definitely had a, what is it called? What's the cabinet with all the, like, china in it? Like a...
Oh, like a display
Yeah,
cabinet?
like she had a lovely, but it was all like the same shade of like beige. Oh. And I think even all her China stuff was all like beige and gold.
I've been in LA so long. As soon as you said that, I was like, what happens if there's an earthquake?
Well, I couldn't remember what we call it, like, because I'm so confused by what everything's called again, because my brain has been scrambled.
Wouldn't call it a Dutch dresser, would you?
No, it's Welsh dresser. Welsh dresser is what has. No, Welsh dresser has.
Oh, I don't know that.
Welsh dresser.
Welsh dresser.
Anyway, whatever. Let's go back to London.
We'll go back to the drab office. Now, they said, okay, right, we've had a bit of a conflab, and we've realised that if you want to do the foundation, you could do it in a lab in Merseyside, and you've got quite a lot of restrictions, or you could just go to Taiwan and there's no restrictions there.
You just blend it right up.
And then essentially Nicola's like, right, well, I'm just going to go to Taiwan and sort it out myself.
Yeah, it's a real, like, she's like, roll my sleeves up. She's like, I guess I'm going to go to Taiwan and do it my bloody self. And when you say restrictions, do you think that means testing, or do you think it means just every kind of restriction? I feel like they just had more production kind of capability.
I think it's everything.
Yeah.
I think shades, I think machinery, I think labs, like, but probably... But I don't know.
Yeah,
Who knows?
I don't know. But
Shall we go to Taipei?
well, I'd like to really take up
Uh-oh.
quite a big issue with Matt Horn and his pronunciation of Taiwan. He calls it Taiwan, and I'm not sure if that is actually maybe
Taiwan.
correct, but he keeps saying tie like a tie around your neck, and wan.
Taiwan.
Really, really specific.
Because what? Oh, I'm
Taiwan.
Taiwan. Oh, Taiwan.
But now I don't know if I'm being...
I know,
now I
Taiwan.
don't know what's right.
Taiwan. Oh wait, am I saying it like him now?
Yeah.
Taiwan.
I
don't know.
Let's just say Taipei so that
Well,
we
they go to Taipei. My first note here is, the world really is big, isn't it?
This music was a wild choice. It was like it was a song I knew, but they clearly used like a
Wait, is
like
this
a
where they
Taiwanese
do?
version of it?
Is this where they? At one point there's a Gorillaz song.
I think it's this
That's
one.
a bizarre remix.
Yeah, I think it's like a Taiwanese remix of the Gorillaz or something, and I was just like, it was slightly more acceptable when it kicked in and I realized it was a real song, but
Yeah.
to start with, it really did sound like generic Asian library music, and I was very concerned.
Yeah.
But then they started showing all the kind of shots of Taipei, and I did say to myself, wow, this is really, like...
She's far...
This is wild.
She's far from Runcorn.
Yeah, completely. This ain't walking around LA or New York and
No.
even going to, like, South America. Even that was kind of...
I think that's why I wrote The World Really Is Big, isn't
Yeah.
it? Because I was looking at it being like, I've never been there. I probably will never go. And that's all happening right now as I'm living in LA watching a UK TV show from 2007.
When did Off the Record come out? That was before this, right?
Yeah, 05?
Yeah, because when they went to
Hong Kong
in that truly felt like it was the first time they'd been there. And I think this is, do you know what I mean? Like, I don't feel like at this time in their career they had gone to that many places around the world. It was
they'd
kind
gone
of
to Australia.
Yeah. Like,
But even Hong Kong has such a strong, particularly then, has such a
Right.
strong British influence. And what? Isn't like Ken Livingston the British...
we can't talk about
Ken Livingston
Ken
again.
and that trip with the bad sound.
Oh, I thought we're dancing and dressing like whores in front of Ken.
Whore. Another, Kimberly using the word whore again. Anyway. But yeah, this is just really, like, this is pretty great. So she gets off the plane, and instead of being allowed to go to bed, they force her to go to Snake Alley, where she takes a picture of a snake with a disposable Kodak camera.
And she's wearing a side pony throughout.
She does a prayer to the god of fortune, and just at some point I was just dying because of her accent, of her talking to the translator. And she's got such a strong accent.
Yeah.
And her saying stuff to the translator. And at some point I think she does insult an ancient goddess.
Well, she visits a
like a
temple for divine inspiration, and then Nicola thinks the goddess looks like a man. Then she goes and has a face reading.
This was so funny.
I mean, you know, I was into this. I was like, please. She goes to see this man, and he, looking at the composure and composition of her face, makes a reading. And he says to her, "You will not make a lot of money."
Yeah. And then she says, what if I'm already rich? And he's like, you'll lose it.
Yeah, your money will run out. And then I actually looked it up and I was like, didn't she lose lots of money? But she, in 2019, she had her house repossessed. Oh. But it's okay. She couldn't sell it, and it was with her awful ex. So she actually went into wanted to be repossessed. Exactly.
Right.
So we're okay, everyone. But all to say, your money will run out. I think he was right.
I like that she says she's outside that. And she's like, she goes, I guess people should start sending me donations now. It does feel like this is a very early example of getting to hear Nicola talk.
Yeah.
She even says it herself, doesn't she? Like multiple times, she's like, this is the most I've ever spoken.
Oh, totally.
And the other girls are saying this is probably the most they've ever heard her talk as well.
So the next
She's
morning,
funny, is what I'm trying to say.
She is funny. And well, yeah, she says later that she's often been the quiet one, so we'll get to it when she has to do her speech. Oh, whatever. Okay, the next morning, I made this recording of Matt Horn's voiceover.
Now get to see for herself whether her dreams of creating a specialist makeup range for pale-skinned women can actually be made into a reality.
She's going to take a see for herself if her dreams of creating a makeup line for pale-skinned women will become a reality. I'm like, wait, come on.
I know. He was really, at this point, he was really phoning it in, really tooting that horn down the phone, wasn't he?
But I'm like, come on, let's trim this down, babe. Let's just really... That special makeup range for pale-skinned women.
Yeah. If it doesn't fit into your voiceover tone, then maybe it needs to be shorter.
Yeah.
Or maybe you need to put some different inflection into your voice that's actually interesting. Let's head off to the factory and meet my favourite person in this entire episode, Terry.
Terry.
Or as I will be referring to him as, Tezza, for the rest of this recap.
Tezza has extensive pigment charts. He's essentially a makeup consultant gay.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, he is good. He's just, you know, when you meet someone, you're like, you're good at your job.
Yeah, he knows the ins and outs of what he's doing, doesn't
You're
he?
a bloody expert and you're just great at your job.
Yeah, so she's in a much more gorgeously appointed meeting room, I have to say, than in that hellscape back in London.
Well, it's a better meeting, but also just, they mean business.
Yeah,
This is legit.
They're not fucking around.
This is not a shared conference room.
No. They've got 7 million makeup swatches out for her. And then we get this gorgeous kind of what I've described as, I said I could watch her swatch makeup onto her swan-like white neck all day long. She's got a lovely, lovely neck.
And at one point, Terry says to her about pigment, do you like this? And she's like, I do like this. Like, she's getting quite excited. And you know what some exciting music is? I Want Candy.
Oh, yeah. This is crazy. Yeah, then we get kind of like a bit of a kind of blur of her day at the factory. And there's a really good bit where, like, she's being shown, like, it's her swatching these things on her neck. She starts getting shown, like, packaging. And at one point, she asks Terry a question. He goes, we need the chemist.
I know.
You know what, Nicola?
We need the chemist. Bring in the chemist.
Because, yeah, it really is. This is the part where they really show that it's an original product. It's not slapping her name onto something that exists, because they have to get the chemist to talk about the actual formula, like how the foundation's going to feel, like because she's talking about how she doesn't want it to be too something, and he's like, we need the chemist.
So I don't know if this is a quote from her or if I meant this for myself. I'm actually really genuinely smiling. I've written down here. Did she say that?
Yes, she said that, but I also agree. I was also genuinely smiling.
Oh, this is good. She's getting stuck in.
Yeah.
And then I've just written in all caps, justice for white people.
Yes. What she says, this is what she says. Let's create something for white girls. I was like, Nicola, let's replace the word white with pale. Because that is actually a niche. Because I hate to break it to you, but everyone else in that band, white.
So Terry's going to show Nicola the whole factory, but she's got to put on some protective clothing.
Yeah, this is the one moment where I was like, Nicola, come on now.
Yeah.
She gets very uncomfortable about putting on a hairnet and a face mask.
Yeah, and those little
Booties.
those little like
Shoe covers.
protective boots. She's got her hoofy boots, and she's got to put little shoe coverings on them. And she says that she looks like a Fisher wife. She does look like a Fisher wife. Yeah. And then there's just at one point she says, "It's mad, isn't it?"
Yeah, I wrote that down. And then again, because they were showing the kind of lab making the makeup, and I said, "This is actually interesting." And then that's when she turned to the camera and went, "It's mad, isn't it?"
Yeah.
I was like, it is, because I guess you just don't think about a factory making makeup. It's very like labby, isn't it?
Yeah.
Kind of like these groups and powders being made.
Well, she's had some fun. So
Why not? Let's jam in a very strange sightseeing trip, shall we, to the end of this?
well, I think Matt Horn says, or she's either been fed the line where they talk about taking some time for sightseeing and to reflect.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Did you look on the YouTube video that it has like captions when you like scrub through the video, that there's parts that are like called something in case you want to go, and this part was called reflection.
Reflection. Mi reflejo.
Why is my reflection just a white girl?
She does say something lovely. So she's in Taiwan and Taiwan. Who
Taipei.
knows? Taipei. And lots of people are coming up to her asking very politely for photographs and all this kind of thing. And she says that in Taiwan, something that's not normal to the culture is treated as something special.
Yeah, and
so she's being treated as a special person, whereas in the UK, something that's different to the culture is weird and is seen negatively.
And that man tells her she's beautiful.
Yeah.
And also, she has a really good quote where she's having her picture taken next to like a soldier at like a monument. And she's like, oh, I don't like standing that close to a weapon because he's got a gun. I was like, do you know what, Nicola?
Fair.
Me
Neither. Yeah.
Still to this day, if I see a police officer and I see their gun, I am like so freaked out by it and weirded out by it.
Well, what's weird here is that you might even go to, so like, I don't know, your local taco restaurant, throw like a special event. It's like, it's taco month to celebrate our birthday, and you go and it's a special event and there's security guards there with guns and you're like, what?
I know.
Oof.
Anyway.
London. GLAMOUS, babe.
I'm a gentle doll and I'm white.
We're in London.
Like a matchstick coming to light.
By the way, I was in my workout class yesterday, the day before, who knows, in my workout class. The coach said, oh, Ben, do you know this song? And he said the name of it, like, oh, it's called a bottle of juice. I'm like, no, I don't. He started playing it, and it was a remix of Nina Sky, Move Your Body, with like some new...
Yes,
You know the song?
I've also heard that, yes.
It's basically just like, it's Nina Sky, Move Your Body, but like a new version of it.
I think it's been like TikTokified, that song.
Yeah.
So it's like yeah.
I'm like, I know the original, Move Your Body by Nina Sky. Move your body, girl.
Well, I almost dislocated my arm at my workout class on Friday or Thursday, whatever it was, because the gym instructor played When I Grow Up by the Pussycat Dolls. So I was trying to windmill my arm. When I grow up, I want to make famous.
I want to make movies.
Anyway.
Let's meet fashion show producer Lee Lapthorne. Who's he worked with? Everyone from Gucci to Jasper Conrad.
Jasper Conrad. Jasper Conrad is very like ab fab to me, you know. It's like very 90s London.
No, but Jasper
ab fab.
But remember, wait, no, because there are two. There's Terence Conrad and Jasper Conrad. So the Conrad shop.
That's Terry. Tezza is the shop, right?
Jasper and yes.
And Jasper's the clothes.
Jasper's the kind of slightly shit clothes at Debenhams.
That's what I mean. It's very like from Gucci to like a Debenhams high-end brand.
Exactly.
Okay?
I've written here, this really is the era of black raccoon eyes, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And black tights.
Black tights. Oh, wait, sorry, Lee Lapthorne.
Yes. So he starts kind of going through what she's going to have to do. And I was like, well, but if you launch you don't do the... I was like, okay, so they're going to just make her do every job. I mean, she's basically doing like... She's done like product development and she's also doing like
producing a fashion show. I'm also like, what's strange is like, wait, so we're having a fashion show to launch makeup?
I mean, it kind of worked in the end.
Oh, it did work in the end, but I was very confused.
Well, don't you feel like originally, if she was just going to slap her name onto a product, the whole focus of the episode would have been
fashion design.
Would have been this. Oh no, it would have been like this. Her putting on the event is kind of all the stuff she has to do.
I see.
But in the end, she had to fly to Taiwan and actually physically go into a factory and make some makeup.
Because she wasn't just going to settle with some blush and some lip plumpers.
Completely, yeah. So it's like, this probably would have all just been like, oh, well, she's going to... Why don't we just have her put on the event? So she'll have to get the models and find the venue and we'll have her with Lee and blah, blah. You know, this is... Tezza wasn't even in anyone's minds because everyone thought she was going to be just selling lip plumpers.
Does anyone know anyone in Taiwan?
Yeah. Oh, I found someone who's actually, I think, maybe better than our actual mentor that we found for her.
Do it.
Terry.
Just go for it. Just go for it.
At this point, we've sunk enough money into this bloody show. We've just sent her to Taiwan.
Well, no, actually, we've recouped the money because we're not doing Nadine's episode. So we've got extra in the budget.
Or do you think maybe Monkey Kingdom had some stock in Dainty Doll? Maybe there was a little... That feels very American. They would do that in the UK, would they?
What's it called? They're not stock. Like, I got... Not stock, like a...
Equity?
Equity.
Anyway... And then this is my first note was this purple dress she's wearing is the first thing she's worn that truly looks dated.
Yeah.
She could have skated by on everything she's worn in this show so far. Even that kind of wild blue kind of stormtrooper style coat that she wore to her nans at Runcorn. I was like, she could still wear that now and look pretty good.
So Lee's going on about everything that they're going to have to do to put on a memorable fashion show / sort of makeup beauty event. Launch event,
yeah.
Thank you. And he's like, yeah, we don't want it just to be run of the mill because, it's just the launch of another makeup brand.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I think she says at this point, it's getting harder and harder.
Yeah, and it sure is. She's not just riding a horse and singing, I dream a fucking dream or whatever Kim was doing. She's doing a few 1-2 steps with Will I Am. It's like, no, you're actually going to have to physically put on an event.
You're going to have to launch a business. So, Nicola, have you actually done all the business charts and projections?
That's what I mean. It's like, they're like, Nicola, do you have the LLC? Like, she's like, what? What accountant are you using for this? She's like, who? Pardon?
So first of all, they're going to go try and look for a venue for the launch party.
Yes. And this is where we meet true star of the episode, her pug Elvis.
Her pet pug Elvis.
So cute. And they're looking at a Belgravia mansion, and she decides to tell us that Elvis is really clever. He poos and wheezes on the newspaper.
Yeah. Well, and at this point, they're playing A Little Less Conversation.
But it's that goddamn 2000s remix of A Little Less Conversation. What was it called? It was called like All This Time with
David Allen.
Oh, that's why they played Elvis. God, I'm so stupid.
Because of Elvis the Pug.
Pug.
Do you know what? That reeks of Susie. That's the kind of thing. I wonder if she did that.
Now, this is my favorite moment of the episode.
Oh my God.
When Matt Horn says, this Nicola's looking at a fashionable, swanky private members bar. And what does she say about it?
It's too cheap.
And what bar was it?
I don't know, but she's not wrong.
She's not wrong. No, has she been wrong in this episode? No. She's not said a wrong word in this entire episode.
Is this where she says it's very hotel-y, it smells like a hotel?
No, that's the third location. Yeah, they're looking at, and she says it looks like Blackpool.
Oh no, wait, yeah. We'll get there. But Cheryl says that, the third venue is this sort of big ballroomy thing. We get an interview from Cheryl saying Cheryl says that Nicola's the most fussy person, but it shows the strength of her character. She knows what she wants. Then we have, clearly, this is very well produced. The producer asks Nicola to sum up each venue. Venue 1 was the wrong shape. The second was unoriginal and felt like a bar. The third, I felt like I was in Blackpool.
Yeah. She's not wrong.
She's not really good.
Wrong. Yeah. And what Cheryl says, she's very fussy, but it really shows the strength of her character and conviction. It's like, yeah, all right, Cheryl. She's really getting on my wick in this episode.
She's getting your tits.
She's getting on my tits.
Is it the day of the fashion event?
No,
we're not there yet.
We've got to go to an ultra exclusive, I don't think so, Julian McDonald fashion show.
But wait a minute. Where's she getting picked up from? Is it the building?
From Kim's building.
I think it's the building.
Like it, yeah. And I just was laughing at them calling a Julian McDonald fashion show ultra exclusive. I'm like, let's relax. He was dressing like Marty McCutcheon in these days, wasn't he?
And also, remember in Off the Record, that's where Cheryl went as well. So they could probably just still use the same passes.
Julian McDonald, he was really selling some plunging neckline dresses back in this day, wasn't he?
So Cheryl's popped along to join her with her Call the Shots hair.
Yeah, and she makes some joke about there's some drag queens at the event, and she's like, maybe you should go and talk to them about your makeup.
No, this is really good though. So Nicola looks like she's drinking a Red Bull out of a glass.
She's really doing a lot of
clinking around, and the two of them are chatting, and Cheryl says that Cheryl kind of almost like looks over the camera. She's like, right, they're gonna film this, and Cheryl says to Nicola that maybe the drag queens would be interested in her makeup. Really funny.
And then, speaking of drag queens, there was a very quick shot of Joan Collins. Did you see that?
I did.
Our Joan.
A quick glimpse.
And at this point, I was really, because of the cooler shots of it all, Nicola and Cheryl's fringes / bangs are just the thickest and heaviest fringes you've ever seen in your life. The two of them are just kind of shaking them at each other. I'm worried they're going to fuse together and create one like ultra fringe.
We then have a quick OTF on the fly interview with Cheryl, and Cheryl's saying that when they lived together, her and Nicola used to use so much fake tan, so the towels in the bathroom used to be a state.
Yeah.
So this is a big deal for her. What? Also, Nicholas claims here she's never been to a fashion show before.
Yeah.
She's been to a few now.
Oh, she sure has. Now, I guess she's not done enough actual work. So let's send this poor woman to Premier Models to actually start looking at some fucking models for this show.
Hello, Premier. I mean, obviously I could tell a few stories about Premier Model Management. Shout out to the show, The Model Agency, which I worked on.
I know you've hidden in like a supply cupboard of that place while they filmed that reality show, right?
Weren't
you like hiding under desks at certain points?
I had to hide under the stairwell and grab people as they went in and out to like make sure they were fine and produce them and get release forms and things. But halfway through filming, a rat died in the wall right beside where I was, so the smell was unbelievable. But yeah, then you're right,
you little rat,
because I was the production office was across the street, like the gallery, the control room, but I was there kind of on set, so they would radio down to me, and a big fight kicked, like the big fight of the whole series of the Model Agency kicked off, and then one of them took off their mic, so I had to run in and be like, hey Chris, could you possibly put on, like, I will not put my mic back on. I'm like, okay.
Whoa.
So you can see me like in the background of scenes, just like scooshing around.
Well, we get an awful Calvin Harris song.
I get all the girls, I get all the girls. So we should point out that Nicola is at Premier Model Management to try and find models.
Yes, lots of people are wearing waist belts. Elvis tries to bite one of the models, which made me laugh. And basically, long story short, she only finds 2 out of the 8 models that she wants because she's being very clear about them being pale enough for this.
So yeah, most of the models aren't pale enough. And then she starts to wonder if she's the only person in Britain who's that pale.
Yeah.
And then I've written, I hope not, otherwise she won't sell any makeup.
Yeah, she's okay, she's fine. And then we get this wild scene where essentially Nicola's just working in like a PR agency at this point.
So
like event planning.
So they start playing 9 to 5, working that ding 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 ding. And I would say that Nicola is a great UK phrase. She's phone bashing.
She really is phone bashing. Yeah, she's making lots of phone calls, and they feel like real phone calls. And she appears to just be sitting. Yeah, at this point, she's just working in an event planning company. She's just like answering the phones. You can see her tapping away on a computer, like she's working.
At one point, I think she says down the phone to someone, "I'm not asking for the world."
Hi, it's Nicola from Girls Aloud. That's what I get. Hi,
Lee,
it's Nicola Roberts from Girls Aloud.
fashion show producer Lee says, she seems to be getting into it, which is good. Which kind of suggests maybe she wasn't for some of it.
Yeah, there's a couple of interviews, apart from Arteza over in Taiwan, some of the talking heads are like, well, she's really trying to put... I'm like, I think she's going to need way more credit than she's getting here. She's literally launching a fucking makeup product.
Okay, we
So-
need to see this makeup.
And in a almost cinematic kind of planning, instead of just going to a drab old function room, we go to kind of the wildest kind of color palette place you've ever seen. This kind of orange. Is it like a hotel, like a fancy hotel or restaurant or something?
But it's a little... Yeah, because she's like behind those doors behind those double doors.
Bright red orange doors.
Is like the makeup. It's a little... early days UK version of Dragon's Den, aka
Yeah.
Shark Tank, when they have to walk through those doors to go meet the sharks.
She's in a bright blue coat. This whole room is orange. There was just a lot going on in this
She's
scene.
wearing a bright blue coat that goes right up to her chin.
Yeah, it's a stormtrooper
It's a
coat.
stormtrooper coat, okay. So, what happens?
Well, we get a surprise that Tez is there. Tez has come all the way from Taipei to show her the products, and she looks genuinely happy to see him.
And he's so excited as well.
Yeah.
So we get the reveal of all the products, all packaged and all kind of good to go. We find out the makeup's called Dainty Doll. No reference to why or anything.
She clearly had to do so fucking much in this episode that they couldn't include the naming and the package making. They were like, just cut it.
She loves the packaging. It's kind of got a kind of illustrated cutesy graphic of a woman with like big orange hair. It's a little fantastical.
And it's a little kind of 1920s-ish. I thought it was more cartoony than that until I saw it again. I was like, oh yeah, it kind of had like a...
It's got an edge to it.
Yeah. I thought that as well, that the product, the packaging and the name and everything, it's a little like, obviously it's quite passé now, but even it still could hold up, I think. Like she's cool is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
She didn't just do something shit.
I don't think now you would name a brand Dainty Doll.
No.
Because it's a little bit like, I'm just a dainty woman.
Yes. But we talked about this a million years ago when we first started this, that like...
Oh, did we?
Or maybe it was last week when we did this. It feels like a million... Well, we recorded it a million years ago, let's be honest. But saying how she was quite ahead of her time in doing a makeup range for shades that aren't available for people. And it's crazy now because obviously it's such a... Now the whole conversation's like trying to make makeup inclusive for all skin types.
Yeah.
From pale to like, super dark or whatever. But it's just, I don't know. I was not enough kind of gravitas is given, I don't think, to the fact that she has actually created a product that doesn't exist.
I know.
Like in the market. It's like really good. I guess because this company was actually kind of a success for a while, wasn't it?
I think it existed to like 2013.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad for something she did on a TV show. Anyway, she's very happy.
Should we cue some music? Doon, do, woo, doon, do, woo.
Fucking hate this song. So Lee is talking to Nicola, saying that the big part of this launch is going to be that she is going to have to do a speech, and she needs to really get across how this is a real personal thing for her, not just, some makeup line that she's slapped her name on.
Because it's 3 days to the launch. Yeah, it has to be a personal speech. She needs to show it's her passion.
Yes. Yeah, Lee does a good job of getting the word passion in, doesn't he?
I mean, because with the fashion and beauty press, they take no prisoners.
Not true.
I like how she starts brainstorming the speech. Like, okay, so first of all, I'm going to want to thank them for coming. He's like, no.
Yeah. He's like, they should be so lucky that they're getting free food and drink. I was like, yep, okay, Lee, you're not wrong. And then, she basically just talks about how she is, the most nerve-wracking thing for her is doing public speaking.
Yeah, singing is fine. She could she could sing in front of everyone all day, but speaking is hard.
She should have sung it. A dainty doll.
Dainty doll, how did something out of bumble?
So should we should we pop home with Elvis and have one of the most unsupportive quick scenes over a cuppa?
Let's go to Nicola's gaff. I can confirm her flat does have black countertops, much like all the others. Now, is that an M&S tub of something?
Oh, I didn't see that. I was too busy taking in her decor. I think she's taking some big swings with her decor style, and it's not necessarily great, but I do think it's more interesting than some of the other gals' places we've seen.
I'd like you to say decor. I'd say decor.
Decor is UK. Decor is American.
Well,
I love your decor.
your decor.
Hi.
Oh, let's go to Nicola's foyer. It's a foyer.
I want to look at the decor in the foyer.
Foyer.
I'm doing my Carey Mulligan voice again. Let's talk about Harvey Weinstein.
Wait, what? But what big swings did you see?
There just was. I can't. There was just a lot of. There was some textures. Some textures and kind of materials being used that I wasn't seeing in some of the other bland beige houses of everyone's. I think she tried to. I don't know. I just think she's got a bit of a sense of style.
Never forget Kim's Moroccan guest suite.
Well, that's a real swing and a miss.
So Cheryl and Kimberly are going to come round to the flat. They come round in chunky beige knitwear. And Cheryl starts to produce the scene. And she says, so Nicola, it's the end of your whole journey. I'm like, wait, what? What's going on?
Yeah, thanks, Cheryl.
Meanwhile, Cheryl holding her mug of tea, her ring's really clinking on it. Did you hear that?
Yeah, and the two of them are just being very realistic and not encouraging. So saying like, oh my God, I mean, I'd be nervous, but you doing it, that's going to be bad.
Yeah, so in terms of doing a speech in front of a crowd of people, Cheryl says, you're the last person I
Yeah.
can imagine doing that.
And Kimberly just keeps going, oof, yeah, oof, yeah, not good.
And then Nicola says, I might not even be nervous. And they go, you will.
You will, yeah. And then she does a great interview afterwards where she's basically like, well, I was nervous before, but now I'm really nervous because they know me and they're like, you're going to be really bad.
I'm even more nervous after seeing the girls.
Yeah.
And someone says, well, I think must be Cheryl. She's the baby of the band for a start.
Baby of the band.
Baby of the
They
band.
said that in so many interviews, didn't they? Anyway,
Oh, God.
let's get up nice and early.
It's 6 a.m. Addison leaves.
Yep, the Addie...
The Addie Lee's been booked for 6 a.m.
And she's gonna, she's found the models. She's found a new venue. And then that's when I realized we were at Sketch. And I was like, let's talk about Sketch. I've been to an Alice in Wonderland themed afternoon tea at Sketch in my time. Of course I have.
So, for anyone who doesn't know, Sketch is, what is it? It's a restaurant in London?
It's a
bar?
It's a restaurant. It's a bar and restaurant, but it's most famous for doing kind of afternoon tea for tourists and for people. For tourists, even if you don't live in London and you're a tourist, that's everyone. Anyone that doesn't live in London and people that do, like me. It's most famous for its afternoon teas, and it's most famous because it's kind of a dead quirky, arty venue. So it's like very. Each room is different kind of themed. They have this kind of white staircase up to these strange toilets that are like egg pods. There's just a lot going on in that place.
The number of Americans who I thought were cool, and then I see them go to London, and there's pictures of those fucking pod bathrooms. I'm like, oh,
Yeah, another one. Sketch got another one.
Sketch got another one. I never went to Sketch.
I'll be honest, I went to an afternoon tea there. It was great.
I have to say,
The food was really nice.
I would be if I were in London with Amy, I'd be like, oh well, she'll probably like Sketch, but go, just so I could go. Never been.
If you and me were there together, I would make us go to Sketch. That would be funny.
We'd meet outside Scribbler, then
Yeah.
we'd go to Sketch.
That Scribbler's closed, remember? I said I went and looked for it and it's closed. Our Scribbler is closed.
Our Scribbler's closed. So she's in the car,
Laying down.
laying down in the back, and she says about today, this is the most horrendous thing I'll ever have to do.
Yeah, and there was a shot that chilled me to my soul, which was like a 6:30 a.m. shot out of the window of like a motorway sign and the windscreen wipers going while it was like raining, and I just I was chilled to my core when I saw it. I was like I can't do it. I can't drive in the UK again.
When she arrives and she walks into the venue, Sketch, is she carrying a mini Tropicana and a porridge tub?
Or maybe you think they'd gone via Pret, maybe.
Oh, no, but it looked like a gas station. Petrol station. Sorry.
Gas station, decor.
So immediately she goes in, she's given a clipboard and itinerary.
Yeah, she's got one of those kind of fun gel pens I think she's using to take things off the itinerary. So let's get a great scene of her trying to get oversized Alice in Wonderland themed, which we've only just hearing about the launch theme and the day it's happening.
Alice in Wonderland props. They arrive on a lorry, the back of a lorry. They're too big to fit through the doors.
And they're fucking Maximo Park, apply
Some
some pressure.
pressure.
I hate that song.
But you know what they should have done? Taken the doors off the hinges. That's how you get things through.
Take the roof off Sketch.
Take the roof off Sketch. What with the crane? Just
Yeah.
lowering a giant mushroom. Boop.
And oh, I have made a note to myself that just says those goddamn egg toilets at Sketch. And then, yeah, she really, again, she's doing a lot here.
At one point, she's shouting at some point, someone like, Joel! As she's unwrapping a giant saucer from bubble wrap.
Yeah, she's like changing lighting. She at one point she screams out someone's name and she's like, John, that thing at the back, but can we change the color? Like, it's really wild.
She comes more alive when it's a show.
Yes,
basically. That's the
definitely.
whole point of this. She's practicing the models walking up and down.
Yeah.
And someone shouts, think Victoria Beckham.
Yeah, that was Lee.
Is that Lee?
And that fucking stupid Eminem song starts
yourself.
playing. I hate that. Although I do like, there's like a montage of stuff happening. You just hear someone go, "Can we fix those lips, please?" I love those.
I know that as well.
Yeah.
Can we fix those lips, please?
I love those kind of. "Can we fix those lips, please?"
I've written here, so people start arriving, and I've written, is Nikki Chapman there? There's a woman who looks like Nikki Chapman.
Was that Hilary Shaw? They're cut from a similar cloth.
No, but they look. Hilary Shaw had more of like a crow-like sensibility.
She did. Nikki Chapman's very soft and
Exactly.
lovely scarf.
Yeah.
So, and Cheryl turns up looking like, I don't know what she's doing. She's wearing that same fuzzy jumper that she wore to Nicola's last night. She's
For the
very,
cuppa.
very cash. Very cash. Disrespectful.
I've written here, how can you model makeup? I guess like this.
Yeah. Yeah, and I actually said the show starts, and yeah, it's kind of these models come out and pose in like different places and are kind of showing the makeup. And I thought, the show's very 2000s in its like the
Yeah.
Alice in Wonderland and the makeup and the clothes. I was like, it's still pretty cool. I was like, this is
It's
good.
totally fine.
This is good, yeah.
It's not embarrassing at all.
It could have been so janky and like sad, and I feel like her kind of persistence to genuinely make everything good is why it turns out so good. It's not just she didn't phone any of this in, basically.
If you had left it to the production crew, it could have been.
It would have been the saddest. The whole thing would have been so sad. She would have launched a lip gloss at like
a super drug.
Yeah, it
and there would
would've
have been
been
like maybe like a pipe and drape stage.
yeah, completely. She would have been in a hotel function room, like a Radisson function room, launching a lip gloss. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is much better.
Yeah. She does her speech at the end. When she's doing her speech, she's sort of pivoting around a lot because the room's kind of like an oval shape.
Yeah.
Egg.
And that's when she makes that joke. This is probably the first time you've ever heard me say anything, which I thought was funny.
Yeah.
I didn't hear a laughter, and I think people were pretty ungenerous for not doing that.
It's a very short speech, I will say.
But the good thing is she starts getting emotional, and because her voice is shaking, but actually, because she's getting the message across of like, this is very important to me, it made it feel even more impactful, even though I think a lot of that shaking was just nerves and not emotion, but it kind of all worked. And we got it worked on some of those very 2000s harried beauty working women that do some talking heads. So they're like, yeah, it's really good. I thought she really put her heart and soul into it.
Yeah,
There's
but
like one woman, Emma, like her eyeliner's all smudged, and she's like, I'll go get back to the office.
Janice from Company magazine
Yeah,
or whatever.
God, really living that. They didn't know what was on the horizon, just around the corner. Like the whole collapse of that magazine industry. They're all just still in that like, that's the real boom time.
Yeah. The boom time.
It's the real boom time. Having a job at a magazine.
We get a really shit montage of the episodes.
Yeah.
That includes shots of that Pong Pong bad office.
Yeah, it's like don't give us some credit. Like I feel like there should have been like a post-credit scene of them being like, Nicola's makeup range is really successful and
Yeah.
is actually a real thing that sold in shops. Well done, Nicola. Like,
Yeah.
Or they should have, I feel like she should have been awarded a prize. They should have, like, all four girls should have been there, and they would have gone, Nicola, yours was the actual passion that was most successful. Congratulations.
You're the most passionate of girls alive.
Your passion is actually good. Well done. So, but I think she did win in the long run because she's the coolest.
Yeah, that's fair. I think that's good. I did watch the credits at the end, and there was a thanks to Mango.
The fruit. Thanks to mangoes.
Thanks to mangoes. shit, have you done the thanks to mangoes in the post credits?
We know because they really helped us out, mangoes. Yeah, everyone was kept hydrated. You know, kept eating them. It was really good. Thanks to mango.
The mango lobby was really strong in 2007. And that's it.
Oh, what's the end of Passions?
It's the end of Passions.
I've enjoyed this. It's been pretty boring, but I've had a good time. I don't know about you.
I think every episode has had some real nuggets. Some real little mini moment nuggets.
Yeah, this might be the least we've ever talked about small moments because this poor girl had to actually launch a whole brand.
She had to create scientifically, chemically, everything. Yeah.
Well,
That's it. Well, thank you as ever for listening. Please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. You can call us at 612-699-2007.
like the year.
612-699-2007.
Like the year.
Like the year. Regular episodes of UWA Prime will be up every couple of weeks.
Who knows?
Who knows when?
We're busy gals.
We've got stuff. Got his Pride Month.
Oh, Jesus. We're going to see Kylie tomorrow.
Oh.
As the day of recording. I'm nervous.
Hopefully I will have seen the Girls Aloud tour by the time we next talk.
Oh, my God.
Bye. Bye.
You are right up my street.
Oh, you can't make me choose.
Igo by Toyota sponsors T4.
Fuck me, Lee Ryan's 13.
Marlene.
I remember we couldn't remember the word for table.